The story begins long before the destruction of planet Vegeta. Frieza, ruling his galactic empire with an iron fist, is suddenly haunted by whispers of a being far beyond his comprehension. Beerus, the god of destruction. A conversation with his father, King Cold, cements his fear. "My son," King Cold warns, "never cross paths with Lord Beerus. He could erase us with a flick of his finger. The Saiyans may be barbaric, but their potential intrigues him. Keeping them in line might save us." Frieza's fear of Beerus stems from a traumatic memory. Years ago, as a young conqueror, he witnessed Beerus humiliating King Cold during a brief but unforgettable encounter. Beerus had arrived unannounced, demanding tribute. When King Cold failed to meet his expectations, Beerus effortlessly overpowered him, tossing the mighty ruler aside as if he were nothing. The image of his father, the once unshakable King Cold, crumpled and defeated, left an indelible mark on Frieza. Frieza, prideful yet paranoid, begins to view the Saiyans not merely as tools, but as a potential shield. Rather than planning their destruction, he devises a plan to bring them into his fold willingly. Frieza summons King Vegeta and his elite Saiyans to his mothership. At first, suspicion fills the air, as Frieza rarely calls for negotiations. King Vegeta bows reluctantly, but listens. Frieza smirks. "I've been thinking, my dear Saiyans. Why waste our time with petty squabbles when together we could dominate the universe?" "Together?" King Vegeta's voice drips with skepticism. Frieza leans closer. "Yes, together. There are greater threats out there. Threats even I would not challenge alone. I propose an alliance. Serve me loyally, and I shall elevate your race to unimaginable heights. In return, I'll ensure your survival." Despite his reservations, King Vegeta agrees, seeing this as an opportunity to strengthen his people and bide time for their eventual rebellion. Under this alliance, the Saiyans flourish. Frieza supplies them with advanced technology and access to more lucrative conquests. Elite Saiyans like Bardock rise quickly through the ranks, gaining respect from both their king and Frieza's forces. However, not all Saiyans trust Frieza. Bardock, in particular, senses ulterior motives. He's afraid of something. Bardock tells his comrades, "Mark my words, when he no longer needs us, he'll turn on us." Frieza's paranoia grows with each passing day. The memory of Beerus humiliating his father fuels an obsessive need to grow stronger. Despite his natural arrogance, he begins a grueling training regimen in secret, pushing himself to heights he'd previously considered beneath him. Frieza's power increases exponentially as he discovers new transformations and techniques. "If Lord Beerus ever turns his gaze upon me," Frieza mutters during his intense sessions, "I'll be ready. I will not share my father's fate." Years pass, and Beerus finally stirs from his slumber. Accompanied by Whis, he ventures into the cosmos to search for the legendary Super Saiyan God. His presence sends shockwaves throughout the universe, reaching Frieza's ears. Frieza calls an emergency meeting with King Vegeta, Bardock, and the other Saiyan elites. The god of destruction has awoken, Frieza announces, his usual arrogance replaced by genuine unease. "If we displease him, he'll wipe us all out. We must tread carefully." Beerus's quest for the Super Saiyan God reaches planet Vegeta. He confronts King Vegeta, who kneels in fear before the godly being. Beerus demands entertainment and food, testing the Saiyans' hospitality. During his stay, Beerus grows intrigued by the Saiyans' fighting spirit. Bardock, bold but respectful, steps forward. "Lord Beerus, we've heard tales of a Super Saiyan God. Allow us to assist you in finding him." Beerus raises an eyebrow. "How curious. You seem different from the others." "Very well, Saiyan. Impress me, and I might spare your planet." The Saiyans quickly gather their strongest warriors to discuss who will undergo the ritual to become the Super Saiyan God. Bardock is ultimately chosen due to his exceptional potential and heroic deeds over the years. Having proven himself time and again alongside King Vegeta, Bardock's leadership and bravery make him the ideal candidate. The decision is also supported by the younger generation, Raditz, Kakarot, and Prince Vegeta, who admire Bardock's strength and determination. The ritual begins, and as the transformation takes place, fiery red energy engulfs Bardock, and he ascends into godhood. The sight humbles even Beerus. Not bad. Let's see if you can entertain me. Bardock and Beerus engage in a spectacular battle. Though Bardock cannot match Beerus's full strength, his determination and newfound power earn the God of Destruction's respect. Beerus spares the Saiyans and departs, leaving a warning. Continue to amuse me, Saiyans, and you may keep your lives. With Beerus gone, the Saiyans celebrate their survival. Bardock's transformation into a Super Saiyan god inspires hope among his people. However, instead of basking in their victory, Bardock rallies the Saiyans to begin rigorous training. "We've been given a second chance," Bardock declares. "Beerus won't stay away forever. Next time, we must be ready." The Saiyans train under Bardock's leadership, using his newfound godly power as a benchmark. King Vegeta leads the strategic efforts, while Raditz, Kakaroto, and Prince Vegeta form the core of the next generation of warriors. Their determination and unity push the Saiyan race to unprecedented heights. Frieza, observing the Saiyans' progress, intensifies his own training. He hones his golden form, determined to keep pace with the growing power of his reluctant allies. The alliance between Frieza and the Saiyans becomes a tenuous balance of power. Both sides know that the alliance is born of necessity, not trust. Yet, as they prepare for Beerus's inevitable return, they find strength in their uneasy unity. Frieza, always obsessed with strength, didn't want to be outdone by his Saiyan allies, especially Bardock, who now wielded the power of a god. He knew that if he wanted to ensure his survival and maintain the alliance with the Saiyans, he needed to reach new limits. Bardock, who always suspected Frieza's intentions, recognized the necessity of unity in times like this. The fear of Beerus united them, and he knew that to face him, they needed more than individual strength. Perhaps it was time to put differences aside, at least temporarily, and train alongside Frieza. The training field was set on a desolate planet, far from any civilization. The terrain was barren, with mountains in the background and vast deserts, the perfect setting for an unrestricted battle. Bardock waited, his expression stern, as Frieza arrived with his usual arrogant smile, but his eyes held the seriousness of the moment. "You finally decided to do what's necessary, Frieza?" Bardock asked, his voice deep and challenging. Frieza, in his golden form, smirked. "Of course, Bardock. I'm not foolish enough to ignore a threat like Beerus. I'm not stupid, just proud. Let's see who's stronger." Bardock nodded without hesitation. He knew this training wasn't just a contest of strength, but a desperate need to prepare for what was to come. Beerus's return was imminent, and both he and Frieza needed to be ready. Frieza began the training with a series of fast, powerful attacks, testing Bardock's reflexes. In his golden form, he moved at an incredible speed, forcing Bardock to use all his agility and newly acquired power. Bardock, in his Super Saiyan God form, dodged and countered with punches and kicks loaded with divine energy. Each blow he struck seemed to tear the air apart, creating energy waves that destabilized the environment around them. "Don't rely on brute strength alone, Bardock," Frieza said with a laugh. "Use your mind, your strategy. Power isn't everything." Bardock, with a focused look, began adapting, his mind racing. He knew that to defeat Beerus, he needed to master not only his physical strength, but also his mental and emotional control. Every time Frieza pressed him, Bardock became more resolute. The training intensified, with Frieza using his intelligence to attack in unusual ways. He created illusions and unexpected strikes, forcing Bardock to remain alert at all times. Bardock, in turn, began to analyze Frieza's movements more calmly, anticipating his attacks and responding with devastating blows that seemed to carry the force of a meteor. "You're getting stronger, Bardock," Frieza remarked as he noticed the change in Bardock's fighting style. But we can't just react. We need to strike together, like a unified force. Frieza's idea to fight as a team initially seemed absurd to Bardock, who always distrusted the Emperor's intentions. However, in the face of the threat Beerus represented, Bardock realized that unity might be the key to survival. Frieza, unlike his usual behavior, wasn't trying to sabotage Bardock. They both understood that they needed to strengthen each other to face Beerus. They began coordinating their attacks. Frieza, using the agility and cunning of his golden form, and Bardock, with his divine power and combat prowess. Each covered the other's weak points, creating a rare synergy between them. Bardock didn't respond immediately. He was exhausted, but determined. "We're still not ready. We need more. We both need more." As Bardock and Frieza completed their grueling training, each silently pondering the impending confrontation with Beerus, the sudden appearance of a new communication device interrupted their thoughts. The device was a strange one that could only be activated by someone with immense power. The signal was unmistakable. It was Beerus himself, the god of destruction. The message flashed across the screen, his voice cold and ominous. "Bardock, Frieza, I am returning for the final confrontation. Prepare yourselves. I won't hold back this time. If you think you can survive, then prove it. But be warned, I'll destroy everything if you fail me." The message ended as abruptly as it began. Bardock clenched his fists, his expression grave. Frieza stood motionless, his golden aura flickering slightly in the tension. Both knew that this time, the stakes were far higher than ever before. Beerus's power was undeniable, and the very survival of their race was in jeopardy. Bardock immediately called for a meeting with King Vegeta and their sons. The Saiyan elite gathered in a hidden underground chamber, where Bardock and King Vegeta laid out a plan of desperate measure. "We need to be ready," Bardock began, his voice serious. "Beerus isn't going to give us a second chance, but even if we fail, we need to ensure the survival of the Saiyans." King Vegeta, usually confident and proud, looked troubled. "There's only one place we can go if things go south. It's a last resort, but it may be our only hope." "Where?" Raditz asked, his brow furrowed with concern. King Vegeta sighed deeply, his voice tinged with a sense of regret. "Many years ago, I exiled a Saiyan to a remote planet. Broly, a warrior of unimaginable power. We sent him away because we feared he might lose control. But now, I see that Broly may be our last chance." Kakarot, the young and eager son of Bardock, stood silently, digesting his father's words. Raditz, always the more calculated of the two, raised an eyebrow. "Broly? The Saiyan you exiled. But how could we possibly trust him?" Bardock interjected. "We don't have a choice. If Beerus defeats us, Raditz, Kakarot, Vegeta will need to head to planet Vampa. There, Broly is hidden, waiting. I've heard whispers that he may be the only one with the raw power to take on Beerus. We can't afford to let our race die. If we fail, Broly is our only hope." King Vegeta nodded gravely. Broly was never a mere Saiyan. His power rivals even ours, but his lack of control made him too dangerous. We exiled him to ensure our survival. But if things fall apart, we must put aside everything else and trust in him. Kakarot, still a young warrior at heart, was resolute. "We'll fight for our people. And if things go bad, I'll find Broly. I'll bring him back, and we'll make sure no one can stop the Saiyans." Raditz, ever the strategist, crossed his arms. "Broly may be powerful, but we can't just assume he'll follow us. We'll need to be prepared to face him too. We'll need to convince him of the cause." Vegeta, now older and wiser, clenched his fists, his determination clear. "I'll do whatever it takes. The Saiyans will not perish on my watch." Bardock gave a firm nod. "Good. Now, we need to make sure that Beerus doesn't know our plans. We'll keep ourselves hidden, observe the battle, and only intervene when necessary. If Beerus wins, we'll send you 4 to planet Vampa immediately. Your survival is paramount." Frieza, who had been silent until now, spoke up. "And what about me? I'm not exactly someone you can trust. If you're all defeated, why should I go to this Vampa planet with you?" Bardock's gaze turned cold, and his voice echoed with unwavering resolve. "If I die, Frieza, you die too. Don't think you'll be able to escape. We're in this together now. There's no running away. You may not trust us, but we're all fighting for the same thing: survival. You're not going to leave us to face Beerus alone." Frieza's golden aura flared as he scowled, but Bardock's words struck a chord. A tense silence filled the room. Frieza, always calculating and self-serving, knew that Bardock wasn't bluffing. The Saiyans may have been reluctant allies, but if Beerus was truly as powerful as they feared, none of them would be able to escape on their own. The thought of facing Beerus's wrath alone didn't appeal to him. Frieza's anger simmered, but he nodded, albeit begrudgingly. "Fine, I'll fight, but don't expect me to go down without a fight if things go south." Bardock gave him a steely look. "We don't expect anything else." As the day of the battle approached, Bardock, King Vegeta, and their son spent every moment training, refining their skills, and making final preparations. They knew that this might be their last chance. The tension was thick in the air as Bardock and Frieza trained together one final time, pushing their limits. The Saiyan elite worked tirelessly, with Raditz and Kakarot sparring constantly, while Vegeta honed his techniques under the watchful eye of King Vegeta. Despite their fear of the upcoming battle with Beerus, they felt a deep sense of unity. They knew the Saiyan race's fate was tied to their survival, and if they fell, Broly, Kakarot, Raditz, and Vegeta would be the last hope of the Saiyans. The day came. Beerus, with his usual indifference, arrived on the battlefield. His overwhelming power caused the very air to crackle with energy. Bardock stood at the front, his gaze unwavering as he looked to the sky, prepared for the inevitable confrontation. King Vegeta, though uncertain of what would happen next, whispered to his son, "Vegeta, no matter what happens today, remember this: you are the future of the Saiyans." With a final firm nod, Bardock looked at his family. "If Beerus defeats us, head to planet Vampa. Broly must be awakened. You are our last hope. Don't fail." The Saiyans took their positions, ready to face Beerus, knowing that the outcome of this battle would decide the fate of their people. The stage was set for a battle that would determine the survival of the Saiyan race. And, if they fell, the hope of their people would rest in the hands of Broly, Kakarot, Raditz, and Vegeta.